Hello everyone. Today we'll talk about the essence of world peace, which can only arise when we first understand the essence of our own lives. Once we comprehend the essence of our lives, we will no longer harm one another. Why is that? Because the essence of our lives is the life element that is empty, clear, and profoundly pure. This is the essence of life. You could call it the mind, the primordial element, the original essence, or the immortal element. We are this life element. A life that is utterly empty and profoundly clear, supremely pure and entirely untainted, transcending all suffering completely. Beyond everything, even beyond the language we are using now, beyond any meaning, beyond all stories. There is no self within it. Yet, paradoxically, all of that is precisely what we are. We must first understand the essence of our lives. I've created an audio recording about this essence, titled The Core of World Peace Through the Heart of Life's Essence. This is something anyone can listen to, regardless of age, status, religion, gender, or nationality. Everyone on this planet can benefit. I encourage you all to share the audio clip I've posted here. Spread it far and wide so that everyone has the chance to listen. This is knowledge. An ultimate teaching that leads people to complete liberation from suffering, from the cycle of delusion and rebirth. Once understood, there will be no more wandering through the cycle of birth and death. This can truly be the final lifetime for all of us. Every sentient being will no longer return to rebirth. It is essential for everyone to grasp the true essence of their original life. Once you understand, you will realize the truth of what I am saying. This essence is profoundly pure, extraordinarily clear, and utterly pristine. You can only truly recognize it by being aware within and perceiving the genuine element of life within yourself. I've made it clear in every recording, but let me preface this so everyone understands. Everyone, when you listen to these recordings about awakening, about the essence of life and the core of world peace, this is my goal. I want all of these recordings to be included in educational curricula starting from a young age. Imagine one day dedicating an hour a day to let them listen. Each of my recordings is about an hour long. Play 1 hour a day, whether it's part of a subject on world peace or a subject about the knowledge of liberation from suffering. Integrate it into the curriculum or play it during lunch breaks or times when students are free from other tasks so that everyone can listen to it. When everyone understands the essence of life, they will be transformed. Do we understand that our true life essence is pure, clear, pristine, and empty, merging with everything in the infinite universe? If we were formless, a pure life essence without shape, absolutely pristine, without any conditioning, without sound, without spoken language, without anything at all, just pure essence, if we could reach this state, tears would flow and we would be illuminated with brilliant light. It would be something truly magnificent for us. Then we would know that nothing in this world or any other world could be as great and sublime as this. Through this understanding, we will realize that each of our lifetimes, whether as aquatic beings, land animals, underground creatures, birds, humans, or any other form, has been a journey of transformation. We have changed bodies countless times, infinitely so. This realization reveals that we have experienced all forms of existence before arriving at this moment. And this mind, which is life essence, continues to seek out physical bodies to be born into, time after time. When this body expires and dies, when this body stops functioning, our mind will seek out a new body. This continues endlessly, infinitely. The question is, why does the mind or life essence, which is empty, clear, and pure, need to rely on these body vessels? What is the true purpose? When will the cycle of birth and suffering end? Have we ever wondered what our deepest true nature really is? What are we really? Where did we truly come from? What do we really want? How can we completely transcend suffering? How can we fully understand all things? The answers to all questions lie within the empty, clear, and pure life element, All the questions we struggle to answer exist within our mind. We need only to turn against the current and awaken to what's within. This is the answer to everything. The reason for introducing these concepts is to help us realize how fortunate we are to be born as humans and to have the opportunity to listen to these teachings. Share these recordings widely so others can benefit from this understanding. The key message is that we are not here to become attached to this body, these sounds, images, emotions, or sensations. Our purpose is not to cling to these things, but to use them as tools to learn about the pure, transparent, and empty essence of life that we truly are. Our true goal is to understand our primordial essence. This is the one form of knowledge that cannot be found elsewhere, something we have neither heard, studied, nor been taught before. In this world, education largely focuses on survival skills. We are taught to think, memorize, and believe certain ideas. From childhood, our parents and teachers have instilled in us the importance of thinking and remembering. However, this constant emphasis on thinking can lead to stress, anxiety, migraines, and even neurological disorders. It traps us in a cycle of intellectual overactivity, pulling us further away from the peace of understanding our true nature. Why has no one taught us to observe our thoughts? Why has no one ever pointed out, "Look, can you see it? The thoughts in your mind, they arise on their own. Can you notice this?" From the moment we are born, we are taught to think, to memorize, to adopt names and identities. We are told to believe we are human beings who must seek material resources to sustain ourselves. We are taught to earn money to exchange for food, to strive, compete, and fight for what we want. We are conditioned to see ourselves as separate entities and to claim ownership over everything we can. Imagine this. If the entire world were under our control, would we want to possess it all? And if the universe belonged to us, would we not desire to claim the entire universe as our own? But have you ever considered what would happen if you were handed the entire world to manage? How chaotic would that be? We will only suffer if I say that we take this entire world and have to take good care of it, being responsible for everything. We would be overwhelmed with managing it all. Even with one small house, we can't maintain it completely. Take 10 houses and try to look after them all. Our suffering will begin as we need to find people to take care of them, find money to pay for expenses for all 10 houses. We have to deal with maintaining each house and live in each one too, because once we own them, we need to live in them. We also have to deal with installing various things in each house. We have to deal with the hassle of finding tenants and dealing with theft. We're troubled by so many issues. Then there are expenses. We struggle from dawn till bedtime, barely having time to eat. And this is just for 10 houses. Do we really want to own land? You can have all the land in the world. We want to possess everything, or do we simply want to know why we were truly born? What do we really want? How can we completely free ourselves from suffering without depending on anything? When we have a physical body, we naturally believe that this body is ours. Think back to when we were born. As infants, we opened our eyes and perceived everything around us. But it was a perception without language, a simple awareness without knowing what it knew. This pure awareness is the essence of our life, seeking to learn. However, the knowledge it seeks is not the kind taught in this world, not about earning a living, acquiring wealth, or gaining status and recognition. We've been pursuing these things for countless lifetimes, as animals or humans, claiming dominion over our environments. Yet in every scenario, whether ruling a forest, the skies, the seas, or the earth, what have we truly gained? This body dies and is reborn again, gets a new body and dies again. This body doesn't last long. This body has a short lifespan. Perhaps this evening, tomorrow, or this month, we might have to die from this body. Walking normally, something could suddenly crash into us, that's it. Walking along, we could slip and hit our head, that's it. Walking along, a car could come from nowhere and crash into us, that's it. Walking along, a large bull could run from somewhere and gore right through our stomach. That's it. Sitting peacefully at home, a roof beam could fall and strike us. That's it. Taking a shower, we could slip and knock our head on the floor. That's it. Eating normally, blood pressure rises, diabetes spikes, body goes into sudden shock. That's it. Playing with animals, suddenly getting a blood infection, knocked out. That's it. In summary, this body simply doesn't last long. This is the truth. Do you know that when this body dies, stops functioning and disintegrates, one natural element must find a new body? That is our pure, empty life essence. It will find a new body and learn anew. When this body is an aquatic animal and gets eaten and dies, it goes to find a new body. Learning to exist like this, cycling like this. This is called the cycle of existence, a cycle of being born to seek food, then aging and disintegrating, then inhabiting a new body. Being born, aging, getting sick, disintegrating, being reborn, existing like this. We only need this, a simple point. We probably have a question in our hearts about why we were born for something. We don't know why we were born, but we feel that this isn't what we want. This world can only give us this much. Everyone only teaches this much, teaching us to think and memorize, teaching us subjects to make a living. Why hasn't anyone in this world taught us since childhood? My child, do you see thoughts? Do you see these thoughts thinking? Do you see them thinking inside your heart? It's speaking inside your heart. Do you see? Do you see that deep inside our heart, we don't have a mouth, but it can speak. There's a voice speaking in our heart. That's the voice that ripples as sound inside our heart. This ripples out from our pure, empty life essence. This voice is a manifestation of our pure, empty life essence. Can we see that this voice ripples and speaks constantly? This voice as I'm opening my mouth to speak. Can we see that this voice cannot be touched and no one owns it? Yet we cling to this voice and get troubled by it. Why? Why do we get troubled by this voice? Why do we attach to this voice even though it can't be touched? It's like bird sounds. Birds chirping, birds cawing, fine. Bird sounds that we hear. Why aren't we affected? Why aren't we troubled by those sounds? Whether it's the sound of wind blowing, frogs croaking, dogs barking or cats meowing, all these animal sounds, why do we remain neutral when we hear them? But this voice speaking in our heart, why do we flow with it? Why hasn't anyone taught us like this, to realize that this voice cannot be touched? Do you know that this voice assigns value to everything? It's called conventional language. This voice gives value to everything, saying that's a tree, even though that thing doesn't speak. This voice relies on saying that's a tree. This voice gives value, saying this is a house, this is a temple, this is a school. This voice gives value, saying that's earth, that's grass, that's a man, that's a woman, that's a person, that's an animal, that's sky, that's rain, that's a mountain. This voice speaks of various things. Look, they don't speak. Try looking. Scan your eyes from left to right to left. That thing doesn't say it's a fan. Look, only this voice says that's a fan. This voice speaking in our heart, can you notice it? Can you see that this voice speaks on its own? No one owns this voice. Can you notice this? Whenever we flow and cling to this voice, we get caught up in it. For example, we have a voice speaking in our heart saying, "Tomorrow I should leave home early in the morning. Leave home early without telling anyone. I'm so tired of this place. Leave early in the morning. Take things. Pack things. Take only what's needed. Leave this house, not staying here anymore. Better to go live somewhere else. Better to go live in the forest on the mountain. Better to go live with this relative. Better to go work in the city." Right now, this voice is speaking in our heart. This voice is saying in our heart that soon we'll leave home early in the morning, take things with us, run away from this house. We'll go live here and there. Do you know, can we see that this voice is speaking? We're caught up in this voice already. Can we see that we're caught up in the voice? We've attached to this voice, and we flow with this voice speaking in our heart. Then we try to wake up early, and we try to leave this place too. Leave this place, not staying anymore. We'll go live somewhere else. And the mood is uncomfortable. The mood is not good at all. Don't want to stay here, want to go live somewhere else. Do you see the emotions? Emotions arise inside. This voice arises inside. Mental images also arise of us living here and there. Images appear too. Do you see these manifestations? Why must we flow with these manifestations? We just need to be able to see these manifestations, see that these manifestations function by rippling as voice, rippling as images, rippling as emotions, not us. It has no self at all, cannot be touched at all. It's not us either. It's just manifestations rippling from the empty, pure life essence. Just manifestations, functioning on their own. Can we see this? If anyone can see that this speaking voice is not us. The images we imagine are not us. All these emotions are not our emotions. If we can see this, where does the sense of self reside? See this and find this answer. It's like this. Why doesn't anyone in this world teach this? We will come to know our origin. We've learned everything external. We've learned it all. But inside, we've never learned. Let's try learning about the inside. It's the single most challenging thing. Let's say whoever wins this game, whenever they realize clearly this empty, pure life essence, whenever they realize it clearly, it will be like this. It will be light and open, if we can see that this voice is not us. The mental images we imagine are not us. Emotions are not us. This knowing that's hearing sounds now. It hears on its own, can you notice? This hearing of sounds, this perception that's happening. It perceives on its own. It's nature. It perceives by itself. Nature. The voice speaks by itself. Nature creates images by itself. Nature conditions emotions by itself. This knowing nature knows by itself. All these natural phenomena function by themselves. Observe inside. See this. Whoever can see this, understand this, go bit by bit, bit by bit. Listen to my tapes a lot. The more you listen, the lighter, the more open you'll feel. Keep listening. We will feel lighter and more open, increasingly lighter and open. Why do we feel light and empty? You know, it's like we are a pure, empty life element. We don't have a physical form. This is our true elemental nature. We are a formless life element, but we are alive, extremely pure. It's light. It's empty because it has no form, so it's light. Isn't it? Then it attaches and dwells. This life element dwells in conditions. Why does this life element dwell in these conditions? Because it wants to learn. To sum up, this empty, pure life element is us. We are this pure element without form, without conditions, without anything at all, extremely pure. Actually, there is no us in there, but it is us. Let me use the word us for now. We are this empty, pure life element, but we don't know what we are. Can you imagine? This empty, pure element. Imagine erasing everything in the universe, stars, suns, black holes, dust, light and darkness, leaving behind only a pure, transparent void. This void is our original essence, the primordial life force. In this state, there is no form, no activity, no phenomenon, just clarity and emptiness. Without any external reference, we cannot comprehend what we are. Do you understand this? In absolute emptiness, there's no way to identify or define ourselves. To understand our true nature, let's start with the origin of existence. The universe began with the Big Bang, a singular point from which energy exploded outward. This energy condensed into tiny particles of matter, which gradually coalesced to form stars, solar systems, galaxies, and vast cosmic structures. When something comes into existence, whether energy, stardust, or celestial bodies coalescing into countless stars, from their initial formation to taking shape as stellar objects, the universe becomes filled with various phenomena, stars, suns, and black holes. When any of these elements emerge from the pure emptiness, the same emptiness that was our original state, They arise from the vast life-giving essence that exists in infinite abundance. If we were to ask how abundant the essence of life is, consider this analogy. Imagine the vastness of the ocean filled with an immense amount of clear, empty water. The ocean holds an incredible volume of water, doesn't it? Now take a single drop from this ocean, a single transparent droplet, and place it into a vessel. That vessel represents the body. Once the essence of life, this small, pure and empty droplet, inhabits the body comes to life. When this essence leaves the body collapses, decays, and ceases to function. Without the life essence residing within it, the body is lifeless. Its heart stops. Its brain ceases to think. The life essence, whether you call it consciousness or spirit, is intangible and nameless because it transcends all labels and definitions. It is pure existence, without form, language, or anything else. When objects first emerged in the void, the empty life essence was impacted by them. This pure consciousness developed certain characteristics to perceive and learn about these objects. Like water's surface tension surrounding its pure form, this pristine consciousness created a similar surface tension around its empty, pure essence. When everything first came into existence, when the Big Bang occurred, it was impacted by an initial force. The tension on the surface of a clear, undefined essence perceived this impact, triggering an effect. This effect manifested as vibrations, producing sound, images, emotions, and sensations. These sensations carried an intrinsic sense of meaning. The analogy begins with the observation that there exists a state that holds meaning. It is a state that prompts the question, "What is it?" and evokes the feeling of wanting to understand what these things are. This essence of life then inhabits small material particles on a certain planet. Upon inhabiting these particles, single-celled organisms emerge, then 2 cells, 3 cells, and so on. From that point onward, these material entities begin to exhibit life. They start to divide, expand, and evolve into living entities. The essence of life resides within these entities, enabling them to exist. However, the bodies of these living beings do not last long. They may be consumed or destroyed, whether by external factors or by interactions with one another. Through various conditions, new forms of life arise, leading to the emergence of countless minds that come to inhabit these material entities. These life essences fill the material world in abundance. Simultaneously, an immense number of living beings emerge, starting as small, simple life forms. We are that essence of life, which first manifested in its earliest form. Over time, our bodies were consumed, perished, or expired due to various causes. Each time, the essence transitioned into new forms of life. The essence of our mind, pure and transparent, would inhabit a new body as it arose, identifying with that body as ours. These bodies were consumed or destroyed for one reason or another. The life essence would then move on, seeking and inhabiting a new body. This cycle continued, evolving through various species and forms of life, ultimately culminating in humans as we know today. In summary, we've been born as everything. The conclusion is, what are we really seeking? What do we want to learn? Even though we've been everything already, we've learned about survival countless times. Even now we're inhabiting this bodily vessel. We've been taught to seek sustenance since childhood, until this age now. This body will die soon. It truly doesn't last long. We all know this about this body, right? But we still don't know what we were really born for, right? We know everything true, but there's still a feeling that it's not what we want. It never ends. When will it end? The point is, when will we finally be done? When will we stop inhabiting bodies? Whatever kind of body, we don't want to return to inhabit any body anymore. We don't want to be born to age, get sick and die. We weren't born to be lost in seeking food, then sleeping, waking, and being lost in seeking food and sleeping and waking. We weren't born to stay in this cycle. We weren't born to stay in this body's prison, or the prison of sound, mental images, emotions, knowing all these things are prisons. We weren't born to be lost in just this. But after we've inhabited many bodies, we still haven't found the answer to why we were born. That's why I'm pointing to the answer. I no longer doubt. I have realized the empty, clear, pure life element that is extremely clear. This element is clear. We are this extremely pure element. When we access it, tears will flow. We will know. We will be utterly amazed. We will know all things, and we will not quarrel, hate, seek vengeance, harbor ill will, destroy, kill or fight over things like we do today, because we'll know the truth that this body is not us. On the day of understanding, when we turn inward to know, just observing inside, seeing this speaking voice, who is it? Who is this speaking voice? Just observe simply, who is this voice? How did these mental images arise? Where did this voice come from? Where did all these emotions come from? Who is this that knows? Where did it come from? Just observe this knowing, see how it thinks by itself. It becomes light, spacious, breaks free completely. It's like seeing everything in this world exists because we think. We think saying this is a house, and house exists. Just try observing simply. There will only be empty knowing. Look up at the sky, look at everything. There will be just empty knowing like that. But when thinking occurs inside, giving value that this cloud is so big, will it rain? Do we see this speaking voice? It's giving value to that thing, even though that thing has no name, no language. There's only empty knowing like this. We are knowing emptily like this. We just observe inside to see who is this voice. Why does this voice give value to everything? Without this voice, nothing could be understood. It gives value. It even gives value that we are human. Try looking at the body. There's only empty knowing. Try looking at your own hand, palm up, palm down. Try spreading. Try closing. Just look. There's only empty knowing. It doesn't say left hand, right hand. Try looking. It doesn't say index finger, middle finger, ring finger, thumb. It doesn't say anything. Try looking. There's just knowing here. And this voice says, this is left leg, right leg, ours. This voice speaks. When we see this voice giving value to everything, understanding arises. This voice? It gives value to everything. Then where is the self in all this? It will reflect back understanding that, are we relying on this voice for everything? Why must this voice give value to everything? What are we really? It breaks free, like we've been carrying from the empty, clear element. It comes to inhabit, attaches to voice, images, emotions, knowing. It attaches to these manifestations and then goes to inhabit bodies further. It's like the empty, clear element has put on a suit of fabrications, manifestations that envelop us like a soap bubble. We are the clear element inhabiting a soap bubble. This bubble can ripple with perception, ripple into sound, images, emotions. We've put on a suit of body, a subtle body, called manifestations. We wear this clear suit of manifestations, and then we wear the suit of a human body, or animal body, whatever it may be. We've changed so many times already, changed bodies countless times. We've been everything, been male, been female, been rich, been poor, been happy, been suffering. We've been everything. Been eaten others. Oh, everything imaginable, back and forth being all sorts of things. We've been everything. If we were to pile up all our bones from the very beginning, they would be higher than the mountains on this earth. We've been born as everything to that extent. Even the tears we've cried in each life, we've been born as different things. Our tears equal the ocean. Our tears are truly vast. We've been everything, understand this. We've been everything already. And this time, our mind or life element still hasn't received the answer. So it has come to inhabit this body once again. Consider ourselves fortunate to inhabit it. The point is, this body, we come to inhabit it, wear our suit, wear the suit of manifestations first, manifestations that envelop us like a clear soap bubble, Then we wear this bodysuit. We're deluded into attaching to being human. Wait. We are the empty, clear, pure life element. Don't yet attach to being human. Not yet. We've never even been born on this earth. We are the empty, clear life element. This life element has created tools, created manifestations. Here are this voice, images, emotions, knowing. We created these manifestations to be tools, used for fabrication, giving value to everything, and also used to fabricate learning about ourselves. Because we cannot know what we are. For us to know what we are, we must rely on tools, voice, images, emotions, knowing. Even as I'm speaking now, I'm relying on it, but it's not us. The point is, we must see that it's not us. It's merely manifestations. Whenever anyone sees this, prepare to break free. It will break free, becoming the original pure element. We come to inhabit these tools, like we've created a prison to imprison ourselves. We created these manifestations to envelop ourselves. We begin to have form now, from being formless, merged with the infinite universe. Once we created a soap bubble to envelope ourselves, we have form already, because we inhabit this bubble. Then we come to inhabit bodily form further, then have human body form further. We believe we are human, male or female, having name, surname, family, having everything as ours, house, car, possessions, parents, relatives. Everything becomes ours completely. We begin to attach. From birth, everyone teaches us to think, to memorize, to seek sustenance, believe everything is us. We've truly been taught this way, but if we change anew, everyone from birth teaching, this voice has no real self, just rely on it. We are the empty, clear, pure life element. We just come to rely on this voice, mental images, emotions, knowing as mere tools, not us, just tools to use. We come to rely on these tools, like if we want to go under the ocean, we build a boat. That boat isn't what we want, but we just rely on it to learn about the underwater world. For the empty, clear, pure life element to come to know itself and know all things as not self, it must create tools. Thus it created these fabricating manifestations, voice, images, emotions, knowing. Created these manifestations as tools, and this alone isn't enough, must have form too, so came to inhabit bodies further. We have form and rely on this voice to say we are male, we are female, have name, surname, have everything. This voice speaks it all. The point is, we must not go out to learn externally like before when this world was that way, because everyone taught to go learn, seek sustenance, to sustain the body. We believe we are human, but our life essence awaits discovery. The empty, clear, pure life element awaits discovery. Let us turn against the current, know inside. Parents, teachers must teach all children. We are the empty, clear, pure life element. This voice isn't ours. This body isn't our body. Just temporarily inhabiting it, it doesn't last long. This body has a lifespan. This voice is a tool. Rely on it, not our voice. It's merely nature functioning by rippling into voice, rippling into images, rippling into emotions, rippling into knowing. All of this ripples within the empty, clear life element. And the empty, clear life element isn't anything at all, isn't involved with these rippling manifestations. Whoever can understand this, observe carefully that this voice speaks by itself, mental images imagine by themselves, emotions of liking and disliking ripple by themselves, this knowing knows by itself. Observe deeply inside how my voice impacts our life element. Our life element is creating perception right now. Hearing sounds without trying, sound hears by itself, perceives by itself. This life element, let's imagine if we remove the life element from this body has ears but cannot hear. If this body has no life element inhabiting it, this body collapses and decays immediately. We call this body dead without the life element. It's like a car. If we don't go, start it, don't drive it, it has no life. It has life only when we sit in it, start it, and drive it. But if we don't inhabit it, the car becomes just scrap metal. Without the life element, this body will collapse and decay. Having a brain but cannot think, having ears but cannot hear, having a mouth but cannot speak, having limbs but cannot move, having a heart but cannot beat. It's still working because we inhabit this body, and this body has life now because it has the empty, clear, extremely pure life element. This knowledge is knowledge we've never learned from anywhere. Let us turn inward to observe inside. Just observe that this speaking voice is not our voice, mental images are not our mental images. This knowing knows by itself, emotions work by themselves. Understand this. Grasp this principle well. Whenever we see that this voice is not us, it speaks by itself, this knowing knows by itself too, then where is the self? Emotions are themselves too, disappearing by themselves, appearing by themselves, disappearing by themselves. Anger emotion arises by itself. Anger emotion dissolves by itself. Joy emotion appears by itself. Joy emotion disappears by itself. This voice appears and disappears by itself. Mental images appear, disappear by themselves. This knowing knows by itself and then disappears by itself. It arises appearing in the empty clearness deep inside, then disappears, appears as voice, then disappears. Let's observe. If we can see that these manifestations have no owner, see that the voice speaking inside that thinks inside constantly has no owner. If no one owns it, why do we attach to it? Emotions have no owner. Why do we attach to them? This knowing has no owner. If it has no owner, why do we attach to it? When we rely on these things, we become troubled by thinking. We believe we are really speaking. We believe this body is really our body. Using this voice to say this is really our left arm, this is really our right arm, this is really our body. This voice speaks. But if we see that this voice is not us, cannot be grasped, don't know where this voice is, it's gone. When not speaking, it disappears into emptiness. When it ripples into speech, it exists, but it cannot be grasped. So why do we flow along with this voice? If we don't flow along with this voice, we won't suffer at all. If we don't flow along with emotions, we won't suffer at all. If we don't flow along with this perception, we won't suffer at all. Observe carefully that these things work by themselves, know by themselves, have emotions by themselves, think by themselves. Just observe, try to verify. When we verify and see, it rejoices by itself, angers by itself. When it's unsatisfied, not as thought, irritation and dissatisfaction arise. When it's as we think and imagine, joy arises. All emotions arise from emptiness that ripples inside and then disappears. When we see that it ripples by itself, it will disappear completely. When we see that this knowing knows by itself, the knowing disappears. Just by seeing that this speaking voice speaks by itself, whenever we see this, it disappears. See these manifestations appear and disappear by themselves. Appear, dissolve continuously. See this and understand deeply that it's not us. It's manifestation, tools of the life element. We come to rely on these tools just to understand our life element. When we see these manifestations often and listen to my recordings extensively, declare to yourself, make a resolution that from now on we'll listen to my recordings every day. Listen continuously. We'll understand the empty, clear, pure life element clearly. We'll observe inside, we'll awaken, we'll see this voice, mental images, emotions. This knowing is not us, not ours. We'll not foolishly attach, we'll not foolishly suffer with these things anymore. We'll transcend this original cycle, we'll transcend all fabrications, we'll not foolishly suffer anymore. Just observe carefully, make a firm resolution, and observe and listen to my recordings extensively. Understanding will come. Understanding,
understanding our life element. Need only knowledge, need only understanding. Understanding in oneself that oneself is the empty, clear, pure life element. This body is not ours, just temporarily inhabited, and then it dies. It doesn't last long. This body exists. It doesn't last long. Understanding just this is enough. This body doesn't last long. While we still inhabit it, let us hurry to realize our empty, clear, pure life element as quickly as possible.
Now we just observe inside. This voice is not us. Mental images are not us. Emotions are not us. This knowing knows by itself. If we can see this, it will gradually detach. It will become light and spacious, increasingly light and spacious, because we have no form. We've been carrying these manifestations. When we release from attachment, seeing they're not us, see this. Whenever we can see that it speaks by itself, it imagines, it thinks, it has emotions by itself, it arises by itself, appears by itself, dissolves by itself, no one owns it. If we can see this, it will break free completely. It will become light and spacious, so light and spacious until it completely breaks free, until no feeling remains that this knowing is us, this voice is not us. It breaks free completely. We will shed tears. It will be brilliantly bright. It will be light and spacious, utterly spacious. And it's empty, it's clear, it's extremely pure here. When we access this pure element, there's no self remaining here at all. No feeling remains of being human, understand? When we exit from this mass, exit from voice, mental images, emotions, knowing, when it breaks free, we will encounter a certain nature that is extremely clear, merged as one with the entire universe, and we will know something extremely marvelous. How will we know the world of the life element? How will we know the world of the pure life element? And there are many who have accessed this point. Let us realize and be one of them. We will want to declare to this world that in this world, nothing is us at all. We are the original element, the empty, clear, pure life element. This element is one with the emptiness of the entire universe. This element doesn't come or go, isn't born or die, is an immortal element extremely empty and clear, like the empty clearness before us now. This empty clearness before us has air inhabiting it, such as oxygen air, carbon dioxide air. This air inhabits the empty clearness. When air moves creating violent storms or explosions occur, like dropping nuclear bombs in this empty clearness, air moves violently creating storms, destroying everything, but cannot do anything to the empty clearness. And the empty clearness isn't anything at all. Can you understand this point? If you understand this, that's it completely. We are this element. When we access this, we will realize what we've been deluded about. It's like breaking free from this world, breaking free from this body, breaking free from all knowledge we understood of being human. It breaks free. We will gain new knowledge beyond the human world, knowledge transcending the human world. We rely on voice, rely on emotions, rely on perception, rely on body, right? But this empty, clear, pure life element needs to rely on nothing at all. And this element has no suffering whatsoever, no stories whatsoever. Doesn't need to seek food, doesn't need to quarrel with anyone, doesn't need to hate anyone, doesn't need to harm anyone, doesn't need land, has no dwelling, no body, no voice, no images, no emotions, no perception. There's only empty clearness that is extremely clear and extremely pure. It's a nature called zero element, zero dimension. No time, no distance, can go everywhere. Want to go anywhere, can go. Can know all things but attach to nothing. When reaching this completeness, we will pity everyone still in this world. Want to tell them, want to lead everyone to transcend suffering completely, because this point completely transcends suffering. We won't need to rely on the world anymore, won't be troubled with living anymore, because there is only pure life, and will not be reborn again. When reaching that point, we will know with all our heart that we won't be reborn again.
This is clearly our final life, and we will pity us in this world. What are we deluded about? What are we seeking? Some walking seeking what? Practicing various things, seeking what? This pure element doesn't need to do that. Just listen to my recordings. Understand deeply. Observe inside who is this voice. Just this. Just observe who is this speaking voice that knows. Just understanding this. Establish this principle well. Grasp this principle well. The principle that we are the empty, clear, pure life element. Everything else is not us. Observe how this voice is not us, how it speaks by itself, how this knowing is not us, how it knows by itself. And if none of this is us, where is the self? Soon the life element will answer that there is no self. Whenever we can accept this, the life element will receive this knowledge. When the empty, clear, pure element knows itself as empty, clear, pure element, it will break free from relying on tools. Like we use tools to catch fish. Once we get the fish, we discard the tools, because tools cannot be eaten. We only want the fish. It's like we build a boat to reach the island of liberation, an island free from all suffering. Upon reaching the island, we abandon the boat, because there everything exists. There's no more suffering. Now, speaking humorously, some suffer from seeking livelihood, suffer greatly, wanting money to pay debt, having much debt, wanting 100,000 to pay debt, suffering greatly. How to pay the debt? They come collecting every day, suffering greatly. Or sometimes our loved one leaves us, we suffer greatly. Every time we think of them, we suffer. Do we see that we're thinking? Do we see this thought? When thinking of them, we suffer, right? If we see that this thinking is not us, it's not us, then who suffers? Do we see this point? It's like having a hot fire on the left and comfort on the right. Which will we embrace? Embrace the fire to be burned, or embrace the comfortable emptiness? The foolish will embrace fire sinking in suffering. The wise choose comfort, spaciousness, lightness, no suffering. So why do we still sink in suffering emotions? Even though thinking of this brings suffering, why must we think? Why must we suffer? We weren't born to attach to this voice. This voice is merely manifestation, like officials serving us. This voice serves us as the speaking official. Mental images are the imagining official. They serve us. Emotions are officials functioning as emotions. Satisfaction, dissatisfaction, anger, hatred, vengeance, joy, rapture, contentment. Emotions are servants functioning as emotions. Another official serves us by just perceiving. These four officials perform their duties. They're not us. We're not involved at all. When we can see like this, observe inside. Seeing this voice is one nature working by itself. Mental images are one nature working by themselves. Emotions are one nature working by themselves. This perceiving is one nature knowing by itself. All of this is nature working by itself. Nothing at all is us or ours. We are the empty, clear, pure life element, without suffering, transcending everything completely, transcending being human too, transcending the story of being born on this earth, transcending that too. It's like our previous understanding of being human has completely crumbled from our heart. New knowledge we've never known before will arise, where there's only life without form, empty, extremely clear and pure, extremely clear. Realize this truth, realize this life essence as quickly as possible. Let us not suffer with anything, because suffering emotions have no owner. If we don't play with them at all, only the foolish embrace suffering and carry it to suffer there. Don't embrace it, don't suffer with it, don't suffer with anything, don't attach to anything. Understand inside, observe inside that this emotion is about to anger. Discard it completely. It's about to think of old matters that will cause angry emotions. When it's about to think, kick it away. We don't play with thoughts. We don't play with mental images. We don't play with emotions either. This knowing isn't us either. We don't attach to knowing either.
Just listen to my recordings extensively and observe that nothing at all is us or ours. There's only nature performing its functions. Let us see everything in this world as nature. All things are born to age, suffer, and die. Trees are born to die. Everything arises to dissolve by their nature. We are merely ones who realize this truth that nothing at all should we attach to. Whenever we attach, then we suffer. Just live life, seek livelihood, live without attachment. Live in the world, but don't attach to anything in the world. Live with family, perform duties best as possible, but don't attach as belonging to anyone. The body proceeds according to its way. Animals' bodies proceed according to their way. This house proceeds according to its nature. This car proceeds according to its nature. Even our body, even this voice, mental images, emotions, knowing, they perform their functions. They transform according to their way, finally dissolving according to their way. This voice appears, then dissolves. Mental images, emotions, knowing appear, then dissolve. Understand deeply that nothing is us. We are the empty, clear, pure life element inside. Just turn inward, then release from all attachment to these things completely. Then we will realize the pure element. When we realize completely, we will declare this knowledge to everyone. Lead everyone to awaken. Awaken now. It's like all this is a dream. Everything is a dream. It doesn't really exist. Don't suffer. Don't struggle. Don't do things like killing, destroying, harming each other. Don't do that. All this is a dream. Wake up. When we all awaken, was this a dream? Crying. It's like being deluded, understanding everything as real. Was it all a dream? When we understand truth like this, it will awaken, it will be very joyful. And there's no feeling of being anything. There will only be feeling of emptiness, pure clarity, without boasting or showing off. If anyone considers themselves to be this or that, to be God, to be anything, that shows they're playing with thoughts, playing with this voice. See well, observe well. There is no self. There must remain only empty, pure clarity that has no self. Then we will live in this world peacefully. We won't harm each other. We will tell each other to awaken, know inside, observe, listen to my recordings extensively. We will share this throughout the entire world, because it's so marvelous, so magnificent, a single teaching, a single knowledge that we've never heard, listened to, or realized before. Come study this teaching. Everyone realize this knowledge. Everyone, please realize it. I am merely pointing the way. Then we'll see how this world can be peaceful, because we understand this knowledge. When everyone understands this knowledge that nothing is us, we won't harm each other, quarrel, fight over land, fight over territory, fight over class divisions. Why divide? We are nothing. We're just temporary inhabitants. Live together in peace and happiness, sharing with each other, help each other. No need for corruption, no need for quarreling, hating, destroying each other. Live together in peace. When we fully realize this in our hearts, we'll know by ourselves. Like waking from sleep, we'll know we're awake. Where have we been dreaming for so long? And now we're awake. So joyful to be awake. Sleeping for 1,000,000 lives and just now waking. Whoever awakens first among us all, whoever realizes this life essence first, that person is most excellent. Everyone must hurry to realize as quickly as possible. Then we'll find only freedom from suffering. We won't suffer from anything. It's excellent. It's supremely noble. This truth is ultimate excellence. Realize it. Encouragement to everyone. Today, let's conclude here. May all of us quickly, immediately realize this life essence. Everyone, all of you. Thank you for watching and engaging with these teachings on awakening. If you found them meaningful, we would deeply appreciate your support through subscribing, liking the video, or sharing your thoughtful comments below.